Piers, do you agree? Do you agree that Donald Trump is mad, nuts, deranged, and mentally unfit for office? Do you agree with that? Do you agree
Why
with that
do you do this? Why don't you just?
Do you agree he's mad?
Why don't you
nuts?
just say, Mehdi?
I mean, it's a simple question, Piers. People are watching. Do you agree that Donald Trump is mad, deranged,
it's not your show,
and unfit for office? Because those are your words, Piers. Those are your words.
When I come on your show,
your words.
When I come on your show,
you call Donald Trump deranged.
Mehdi Hassan walked onto Piers Morgan's show with something most people do not bring to cable news debates, a physical government document, an FBI PowerPoint presentation from the Epstein files, page 21, the prominent name section, Donald Trump at the top with 2 allegations. Listed, and Piers Morgan's response was Trump derangement syndrome, not a rebuttal, not a counter document, not a fact check, a catchphrase deployed to avoid engaging with the piece of paper he could see with his own eyes. And the entire exchange that followed was a masterclass in the difference between someone arguing from evidence and someone arguing from relationship. Mehdi had the document. Piers had access to Trump. And it showed in every single exchange, from the TDS accusation to the Nazi comparison to the Somali IQ question, that Piers refused to answer 3 times on his own show.
And mentally unfit for office. Do you agree with that? Do you agree
Why
with that
do you do this? Why don't you just?
Do you agree he's mad?
Why don't you
nuts?
just say, Mehdi?
I mean, it's a simple question, Piers. People are watching. Do you agree that Donald Trump is mad, deranged,
it's not your show,
and unfit for office? Because those are your words, Piers. Those are your words.
When I come on your show,
your words.
When I come on your show, when I come on,
you call Donald Trump deranged, mad,
time out,
and nuts.
When I know, and occasionally I think he is those things. And as you know, I've said it when I think he is, and when I think he deserves praise, I give him praise. My point is, though, that
but overall, you accept
blinkered about AOC. No, I think sometimes he's perfectly normal and lucid. Sometimes he does nutty things.
Most of the time. Come on, Piers. This is a man who rants about shark attacks, who talked about Arnold Palmer's penis at a rally, who did an impression of someone doing oral sex on a microphone at a rally. There's been no president like this. I hate George W. Bush, but I would put George Bush 100 times above Donald Trump in terms of intellectual and mental fitness for office. You cannot question any Democrat's intellectual fitness for office when you have supported this man, the most deranged man, your words, deranged, mad, nuts man, in office.
Just to be clear,
this is a man who couldn't find Taiwan on a map if his life depended on it.
Mehdi, here's the problem. I'm afraid, listen, you know I like you, I respect you very much. You've built an amazing business with Zeteo. Congratulations. But one of the reasons Donald Trump got re-elected is that you guys have got literally Trump derangement syndrome. It plays into his hands. I prefer to be more even-handed with him. I prefer to praise him when he deserves it, and I prefer to whack him when he doesn't. When you're so blindly enraged by everything, including silly jokes he says, you're so deranged about it, actually in the end, you managed to achieve the unthinkable. You managed to help get Trump re-elected.
Hold on.
He got re-elected with a bigger majority.
Do I get to speak? So, hold on. Let's just deal with a couple of things. The reason he got re-elected, I would argue, is the media gave him a pass. People like you, I came on your show on the eve of his election, and you were telling me all sorts of things. Oh, don't call him a Nazi. Don't call him a fascist. Meanwhile, we have masked thugs
He's not a
pulling
Nazi.
American citizens off the street.
He's not a Nazi.
Them in cold blood.
He's not a Nazi.
I was right about his fascism. You were wrong about his fascism. I was right that he would try and stay in office in 2021. You were wrong about that. His people are shooting Americans
stay in office in 2021.
Everything that I said would happen in a second term.
He didn't stay in office.
Piers, and you said he was
He's not a
Nazi,
and he's not a fascist.
Oh, my God. Piers, you, in January 2021, accused him of trying to stay in office. You said he sent an armed mob to the Capitol. You said he should be removed from office, never be president again. You changed your tune once he got back to the presidency. I get that. That's fine.
No.
I've been right about everything I've said about Trump. And as for being Trump derangement syndrome, it's the very opposite. Even I didn't think he'd be trying to start a war with Denmark. Even I didn't think he'd be shooting Americans in the street 14 months into his presidency. Even I didn't think he'd be this corrupt on this level so openly. So, in fact, he's been much worse than those of us who allegedly have TDSs. You have TDS, Piers. You have Trump denial syndrome. When I say to you, is Trump racist? You say, no, he's not racist, even though he calls Somalis low IQ, Piers. Do you agree that Somali people are low IQ? Is that not the most racist thing?
Just to explain, Mehdi, just to explain.
You're dodging me.
This is not your show.
Do you think Somalis are low IQ, Piers?
This is not your show, Mehdi.
Do you think Somalis are low IQ?
You don't get to interview me for half an hour. It's not your show.
I think people are worried about your silence.
When I come on your show, I haven't been silent about any of these things. You should watch my show more.
Trump calls Somalis low IQ. Is that not a Nazi thing to say? Is that you? Okay, I'm not asking you a question.
It's not a Nazi thing to say. No,
I think
it's not a Nazi thing to say.
It is white supremacist rhetoric to
not.
call black
and
people
actually
garbage and low IQ.
The problem is,
it's amazing that you're defending.
Okay, Mehdi,
amazing.
Let's not talk at the same time. No, here's what I'm defending. When people like you on left keep calling Trump a Nazi or comparing him to Adolf Hitler, that is exactly what I'm talking about Trump derangement syndrome. It is so ridiculous, so offensive, so inaccurate. Adolf Hitler and the Nazis murdered 12 million people, including 6 million Jews
Piers,
in a Holocaust. There is zero comparison to be made.
Then why are they pumping out Nazi propaganda from the DHS Twitter account? Why are they using literal Nazi themes and quoting Nazi books? Do you know that they're doing that? Have you checked that out? Go check it out. I wrote about it. Why are they trying to...
Has he murdered 12 million people?
A man who says... Why is he? That's not the definition of a Nazi. That means Nick Griffin's not a Nazi because he didn't murder. You know perfectly well, you don't have to be Hitler to have Nazi views. These are Nazi views. When you put someone in front of Congress right now, they're trying to confirm someone to the State Department, Piers, who says that we need to address the Jewish question, that Jews are victims, that white people are being erased. Are those not Nazi views? Are those not far-right views? Are those not views you want to condemn? This is your friend. You say, Donald Trump is my friend. I'm asking you, Donald Trump, your friend, is friends with Epstein.
Mehdi.
Know how many Trump people are in the files in very awkward positions, lying about their relationships, from Elon Musk to Howard Lutnick, Mehmet Oz, multiple. That's why Thomas Massie is now calling this the Epstein administration. But just on Trump, I just want to mention a couple of things. I just brought this along just to remind myself. Donald Trump traveled on Epstein's private jet many more times than has previously been reported or that we were aware. That's an email from one of his own DOJ lawyers in 2020. Trump lied, Piers, when he said he never went on the plane. He went on the plane 8 times. We know, for example, that Epstein wrote in 2011, Donald Trump spent hours at my house with a victim. He referred to Trump being at his house as the dog that hasn't barked. He said in 2019, Trump knew about the girls. Now, he could be lying, Epstein. He's a horrible, convicted sex offender. But the point is, we've not had full investigations. The media has barely touched this, Piers. There's been a lot of coverage of Prince Andrew and Thiel and Elon Musk and Reid Hoffman and all sorts of people. Katie Couric. There hasn't actually been that much coverage of Donald Trump's own relationship with Epstein as much as there should have been. If this was any other president or politician, this would be a huge scandal. And I agree with you on the kind of, we haven't got evidence of criminality, but I just want to show, this is in the Epstein files, right? This is page 21. This is a 21-page FBI a PowerPoint presentation. This is the page they have from last summer called Prominent Names. Donald Trump's at the top with 2 allegations in there. Now, I'm not saying those are proven allegations, but the idea that we as a media, that the American public's not even familiar with those allegations.
Start with the document because it is the most important thing in this entire exchange. Mehdi brought a physical copy of the FBI PowerPoint presentation from the Epstein files to the studio. Not a screenshot, not a tweet, a primary source document from a federal law enforcement agency, page 21, the prominent names section. Donald, Trump listed at the top of 2 allegations. Mehdi was precise about what this does and does not mean. He explicitly said those are not proven allegations. He did not claim Trump is guilty of anything. What he said is that the American public largely does not know Trump appears in that document at all, and that any other politician with that level of documented association would have faced significantly more media scrutiny. And that is a media accountability argument, not a conspiracy theory. And Piers had no answer for it. He could see the document, it was on his desk, and his response was to pivot and deflect rather than engage with what was on the page. That pivot is the most revealing moment of the entire exchange. TDS is not an argument. It is a deflection mechanism designed to reframe documented evidence as emotional instability, so the evidence never has to be engaged directly. The TDS accusation deserves its own examination because Piers deployed it against someone citing his own words back to him. Piers Morgan, in January 2021, said Trump sent an armed mob to the Capitol, should be removed from office, and should never be president again. After Trump returned to power, Piers moderated his language, appeared on MAGA-friendly platforms, and started deploying TDS against people saying the same things he said in 2021. Mehdi called that out directly. If saying Trump is deranged, mad, and nuts constitutes TDS, then Piers has TDS because those are his exact words on the record, and he never disputed that he said them. What changed was not the evidence about Trump. What changed was Trump's power and Piers' relationship with that power. The Somali IQ question is the one Piers refused to answer 3 times on his own show, and the refusal is itself the answer. Trump called Somalis low IQ. Mehdi asked Piers directly, "Do you think Somalis are low IQ?" 3 times, no answer. Because there is no honest answer that both agrees with Trump's statement and does not confirm that the statement is racist. Piers hid behind, "It's not your show," rather than answer a direct question about whether he believes an ethnic group has low intelligence. That is not moderation. That is cowardice dressed up as balance. The Nazi comparison exchange is the one where Piers made his strongest argument and where Mehdi made his most important counterargument simultaneously. Piers correctly identified that comparing fascist rhetoric. Nick Griffin was not Hitler. That did not make him not a fascist. The DHS posting content using Nazi themes, administration officials using language about the Jewish question, white erasure narratives being promoted from within the government. These are documented. Arguing that they constitute fascist tendencies is not the same as saying Trump is Hitler. It is saying that the ideological family these positions belong to has a documented historical name. And that name should not be protected from application simply because the scale has not yet reached its historical worst. Here is the bottom line. Mehdi Hassan walked into that debate with a document. Piers Morgan called it Trump derangement syndrome. One of those two positions is based on evidence.